And finally, timeline. When is this player expected to be ready? So all these categories need to be taken into consideration and weighted appropriately. So as we move on here, the one thing I really want to stress is that once trust is built, it is our responsibility with these plans to be correct. Because whatever road we set this player down is going to have a positive or negative effect on their career. And that's because they only have so much time. So now that I've stressed that point, the development plan. What is the goal of this development plan? First thing, we need to have clarity of these major development areas. We're always going to be working on 5, 7, 10 things with our players, but when they leave that conversation, they really need to know how important these 1, 2, or 3 major things, how important they really are. Number 2, solutions for improving these areas. Don't just identify the area that needs work. We now need to give a how-to that we're going to make progress. So if we say his wall play or his acceleration or his playmaking under high pressure needs work, well, we better have a checklist, a 1, 2, 3 of how we're going to accomplish this over the next 6 months. Third thing here, this plan needs to create a real clear vision for the player. When they leave that conversation with us, they need to understand what that vision is and why it's so important. And finally here, this plan needs to be a deliverable. We cannot expect these players to memorize this conversation for the next 6 months. It needs to be on paper, a PDF, or an image on their phone. So we have our plan ready. And always, just to clarify here, what is the purpose of this development plan? Now, for every league at any age, it's always going to be different for what we're trying to build for the player. But for us, the purpose of the development plan is to build the prospect a game that translates to the National Hockey League. So for step 4, I wanted to use a player who really leaned into building that translatable game. And his story ties our entire development process together. So the player you see above here is Shane Wright. He's our first-round pick from the 22 draft. Now, Shane was a high-profile player on a real aggressive 2-year development timeline. Our organization's goal was to have him challenging to be our NHL second-line center by 20 years old. Now, due to the CHL rules, it forced us to build 2 really different types of development seasons. The first, his 18-year-old year. Well, this was an exposure year. He's going to play on different teams in different leagues. He's going to see time with Seattle, with Coachella Valley, with Team Canada at the World Juniors, back in the OHL against his peers, and finish the year off with 20-plus games in the American Hockey League. The second year, his 19-year-old season, we believed he was going to get exceptional status in the American Hockey League, and we were going to have a true, stable development year. So I spoke about patience. So as we roll back to his 18-year-old year, the patience is so crucial, trying to learn and understand our players, especially when they're transitioning between different leagues. And we can see the things that do translate and the areas that maybe don't translate as quick. So at the end of the year, here are 5 even strength clips that we really loved from his season. So this first one, from an exhibition game against Vancouver. Great D-zone positioning early, really good move to get us out of the zone, another good move to get us in the zone, and creates his own scoring chance here. Next one here. His first AHL game. Comes to the neutral zone, shows really good middle ice speed to hit a hole, and gets away a great shot. Third one here, we're in the American Hockey League playoffs. Conference finals versus Milwaukee. We see here a strong, confident transport, all the things he's going to have to do at the NHL level, and he finishes it off with a really smart play under pressure. Next one here, now we're into the Calder Cup final. At 18 years old, Shane is our 4th-line center, and he's learning how to earn minutes for himself and his line mates. And the final one here, World Junior gold medal game against Czechia. We're asking Shane to take on multiple defenders, dominate against his peers. Well, here's a clip that has all that in one clip. So as this year is going on, our organization is looking for these high volume trends. What are the things we're seeing a lot in his game over the course of a year? What we're also looking for is low volume trends that we want to see more of. So we're going through and trying to identify these major development areas. It was actually a low volume thing that we loved the most. And it was all these plays where he really impacted the game through the neutral zone. So the transports, the middle ice speed, the controlled exits, and the controlled entries. So I spoke about clear messaging to the player. So for Shane, in his 19-year-old year, our number 1 organizational development message was we want you to have more impact transporting the puck. Why? Well, we believe this is a major area to add to your game to help your entire game translate to the NHL. So as we're starting his 19-year-old season, we've now done the research, We had a strong, full 1-year relationship. We have one clear, direct message. We believe this message affects the translatable game, and we know the NHL role we would like them to be. So I spoke earlier about alignment across all key stakeholders. Well, now we have our general manager, our head coach in the NHL, our head coach in the American Hockey League, our player and his camp all aligned. And to Shane's credit, this kid leaned into this and got to work. So here's 3 clips from early in the season, all on the road. We wanted him to challenge himself with the puck, attack through the neutral zone. We wanted to see that middle ice speed and him taking on multiple defenders. All these plays, well, they were going to be required in the NHL the next season. And like I always say to our players, if you can't do this in the American Hockey League, how are you going to do this in the NHL?